Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of the Mrs. Elmi Group. Today we have Amina Ibrahim. And first of all, thank you for allowing us to do this. MashaAllah, we're very excited, in what you're going to tell us this evening, inshallah. And if you can start off by telling us your background, your career, how you got into this, and so on.
Okay, hi, assalamu alaikum everybody, and hello Zamzam. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Amina, and I work in healthcare. So specifically, I work in the operating theatres as an operating department practitioner. So if you haven't heard about ODP, that's perfectly normal. It's a very small career within the NHS, worldwide, as well as like such a small niche group. So it's the study of perioperative practice, which is the so is surgery. We study surgery, anesthesia and recovery, critical care in general, and like being around for emergencies and stuff. And within the three disciplines, I enjoy anesthetics more in my training, so that's what I've specialized in. And I've been working as an anesthetic practitioner for the past 12, almost 13 years, and within the NHS and abroad as well, alhamdulillah. And that is me. So was that all? What was it like? Background,
career and achievements.
And achievements. Oh, yeah. Achievements. Do you know what it is? I feel like in the current way things are going, alhamdulillah, the fact that we're all living and surviving, that's an achievement. So I'm really proud of that, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
But I think the main thing that you're referring to is that I was recently awarded an MBE on the Queen's Birthday Honours in 2020, last year. So that's like the biggest, accolade next to my name, that like so far. So yeah, I think I can't cut so well. That's what
I'm sure there's plenty more to come, inshallah. So our topic today is obviously about careers and mapping your career in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So what I wanted to just get an understanding of is we have some people that are dreamers and some people that are doers.
Yes.
But some of us, or maybe a small minority of us, can be dreamers as well as doers at the same time. So what is your understanding of that, and how can you elaborate on it a little bit more for us?
So I think, like, to me, the way that I understand that question, or the way I see the whole thing, to be honest with you, is that the fact that you're dreaming about, like, say, doing something or getting to a particular point in your life, whether it's like you want to become, like, you want to achieve a hobby, do something, how the difference between the dream, the bit where you officially started, to actually doing it, is how much effort and how much work you're putting in. And the thing is, sometimes the thing, like, when we're younger, we all have dreams. So we could say, like, a 5-year-old can say, when I grow up, I want to be a pilot. And then they can say it again at the age of 15, when I finish school, I want to become a pilot. But the difference between the 5-year-old and the 15-year-old eventually becoming pilots in life, later in life, is what did we do to get to that point? Does that make sense? It's how much work have we put in? So I think with my thing is that necessarily I wasn't going to go into healthcare. I remember, like, I don't think healthcare was my thing. Like, I know it's going to sound really weird. Like, I'm not a good patient. Like, when I was getting to my course, I was scared of needles, scared of blood. I was just a generally squeamish person. If I can avoid going to the doctors, I will. It's just, I just didn't like it. Does that make sense? So, but like, you need to have, but the thing is, once I realized what I wanted to do, is the effort that I put in. So it's like researching how to get there. What skills do I need to gain as a person? Si an point ka ugaro, what do I need? What tests do I need to pass? What target do I need to achieve? And also the thing is, that's something that you can do. And then the thing is, like, and then, so that's basically, I would say, my teens and my 20s. How do I get into this point that I am now in my life, like in my 30s, and has in my, like, so what I've done, the one thing that prominent in my 30s is starting the charity that would get me the MBE. So the thing is as well, like, starting a charity, for example, is not something that a lot of us can do, and I couldn't do it in my 20s, even though I'm doing the same exact job without the confidence that I gained, like obviously as a person throughout the years, the confidence that I gained as a professional as well. And then also you need means, like something to back you up. You need to have the connections, the network. You need to have the money, pack it up. Like, you want to start a charity, so but like, what are you going to fund this with? So it's like also, making enough capital myself to fund this charity so I can do the work that I wanted to do. So the thing is, dreaming is like the first step in my eyes. Well, it's the first of a step. Anyone, like young and old, فكرة مسكحة قصة دعوة, a dream, أو واحد كوريونيسيد, a فكرة that comes into your head, that dream has been planted in you for a reason. Keep pursuing it. Like, so if you dream about becoming skinny all of a sudden, or becoming a bodybuilder, you keep dreaming about it, but if you don't eat healthy, or if you don't pull weights or whatever, you're not really going to get those targets. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
Dreaming, the idea is the first step. And then you need to figure out like what you need to do to get to that point so what is it that you need? There is a lot of stuff, so the effort that you're going to put in, and then there's other stuff that you might need help with. So your network is also pretty important. So that's how I kind of understood that question.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. I love that. Now, the next thing is, you touched up on it a little bit, but I'd like to get a detailed answer from you, inshallah, is at what point in your life did you know, or did you picture your future career?
The job that I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So how I got into healthcare in general is that, so Markan, this is taking you guys back a little bit. So back in the day, we used to have A levels and A levels AS and A2s.
Yeah.
So I finished my AS and I was about to start my A2s. And then when you start in your A2s, you also have to fill in your UCAS application form. So and the job and the course that I discussed with my parents was international relations and public relations. So I really wanted to do something within those two fields, and I was really passionate about it. And I spoke to Ab and Hoy about it, and they both supported me. Then subhanallah, what would happen in the summer of 2002 is that my father becomes seriously ill. He gets hospitalized, and eventually he ends up losing his life in ICU. So the thing is, like, so my dad was ill for 2.5 months to 2.5 months to 3 months. Abba was seriously sick, and then I went with him when they were taking him to the operating room. I went with him as far as the anesthetic room, and I met like the team that was looking after him initially for his anesthetic care, and was looking after him in theatre. And then later we come across the nurses and the doctors who are looking after him in the ICU. So like growing up, like my dad was my best friend. Like me and him were really, really close. So his death really hit me. And then what's it called? When he dies, the team that ends up looking after that was looking after him in his final days, they send us condolences card. They send us a condolences card. Sorry to hear about your loss. And I don't know what it was, but that small gesture, that very, very small gesture, just spoke volumes to me. I was like, you know what? I'm not the only person who thought my dad was amazing. These people have only known him for a very short period of time, and they've got the same exact sentiment as me. And then subhanAllah, even though we're all grieving, we're really, really, really sad. That small gesture just did something. And I said, subhanAllah, it made me accept the mashada, made me accept his death. And obviously
the reality of it hit you.
Yeah, because when you're markad yartahay, I think when you're younger, like to you, death is a little bit like, why God? Do you know what I mean? That's like,
and it's distant as well.
Yeah. So I was just like, so it went from me like, why to, okay, I get it. It was his time to go. So I was like, thank you for thank you for like the times that we had with him. And I was like, okay, so now I think that small gesture, what it did is literally was like, right. I remember just gathering up my siblings, and I said, okay, guys, we are going to cry for like 3 weeks more tops. Okay, so we're going to take a break from school for about 3 weeks. So and also I ended up starting school late. My siblings we all started school late because obviously we were grieving. And I said, then we need to live life like how Abba would wanted it. And we need to do everything. We need to live this life as if he's still alive. So we can't use my dad's death as an excuse not to do well. And I think I'm the urad as well. I'm the oldest. So uradana to me maskaxda markii waxay igu soo degtay schoolka ka fadhiiso, and then shaqo
support the family.
Support the family. maskaxdeeda waxaa gashay support the family. I mean, I'm 17, 18. runta marka la sheego well, like, you know, minimum wage, but like in your head, you know, you're like, you feel like 1,000 of men and you feel like you can do it, right? So I was just like, right, it made me, that suggestion made me accept, like obviously I said to you, it helped us with the grieving process, and it made me accept death as well. So I just said, Amina, want to do this for another family, you know, like the kind gesture that has been shown to me and my family. I want to pay it forward, and I want somebody who's going to die, we want to like give his family, his or her family, the comfort that we got from the team that looked after my father. So then I was just like, okay. So I remember I said, I don't really have a relationship with my GP or any healthcare professional. I'm a terrible patient. I hate blood. I hate needles. And then I had to literally look at the prospectus. And I remember like we had to fill in our UCAS application not long after. And I was just like, okay, I want to go into healthcare, but I've never done, like, I haven't done any healthcare courses or anything. I think my last time with science was biology GCSE. But, you know, like I was like, I need to like learn about the human body. So I was like, maybe I need to retake a year. So I will end up retaking a year to do my health studies and, you know, like understand the basics of Afmad and care. And then yeah, so I would go through the university prospectuses, because health is broad. So I didn't know what sort of, exactly. So I was like, I knew that I did not want to be a doctor. I knew that much. I just knew I did not want to be a doctor because I didn't have the passion for it. Does that make sense? When we were younger, like I didn't like playing doctors and nurses. I loved playing police and robbers and chasers like that. So I knew medicine wasn't it for me. So then I picked up nursing. Stuff like that before I picked up nursing. So I had a baby sister who was very small when Abu died. I remember one day Hoya said to me, and I'm gonna hafid the kabdal. I said, all right, no worries. And then I think I was like, she said hafid the kabdal. And my face was just like, hafida. Like, and then I think my mom described it. She said, you went white as a sheet. And she goes, I can physically see you're panicking. So then Hoya sat me down. Hoya goes, Hoya, Afmad Batkadlisa. I said, Hoya, I'm going to take some Afmad course. And she's like, Hoya, if you can't change your baby sister's nappies and wasabir, and I was like, definitely nursing. I mean, some of my best friends are nurses, and I truly believe that nurses are angels on earth. But wallahi, I can't do Naharista nurses could display Garayan at such crucial times. It's not something that I could replicate. So it has to be a calling from God, and I didn't have that calling. So I went through the university prospectuses, through all the different healthcare courses. So there's about 350 careers within the NHS. I think I attended an open day for just each one. Like I attended radiotherapy, diagnostic radiotherapy. I didn't even know what it was. Then I found out on the day you look after cancer patients, and you know, cancer patients die. And you go, I went to radiography. I was like, yeah, it's not in for me. I went to pharmacy. I was like, not in for me. And then I was literally just getting really worried because I know I want to work in healthcare, but I'm squeamish. I hate blood needles. And I get disgusted, like, you know, it was specific. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And then came in the middle of the university prospectus, it was the letter O, and there was operating department practice. And I was like, oh, that looks interesting. And then on the front page of the course, it was this girl who had blue and blue head. She had her scrubs, so she had this like little smile, like, hey, cool, I'm an ODP. And I'm like, that girl looks like she's having fun. Yeah. I was like, yeah, her outfit looks cute. She looks cool. You know, let me see what you do, girl. So I went to the open day for ODP course. ما فهم سنين. I honestly didn't get it. I was like, what is this? But I said, I like what they're wearing. I like that outfit. I was like, so I applied. And then when I applied, and I remember like going for the interview, and they were like, so why do you really want to study this course? So I just used my, like the excuse of like, the reason, which is like, you know, my dad was severely ill, and everyone from like the anesthetic team all the way to the intensive care was really nice to him, and I just wanted I wish to do that for somebody else, and they like kind of accepted me. I still don't know, sometimes I'm like they were a bit too nice to accept me, but it happens. So yeah, I get on the course, and then when I get on the course, it was like, wallahi guys, it was like Malik, for example, like Afratanka, I used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. By 5 o'clock, I'm outside the house. Okay. 5:50, I'm on site. I'm in the train. 7:30 shaqadii baan joogaa. 8:30 waa la soo celiyey.
Oh my God.
Because waan suuxay, dhiig baan arkay, waan suuxay, mindi baan arkay, waan suuxay,
Oh
needle baan
dear.
arkay, waan suuxay. Every time I go, ugh. Towards the end of the first year, my mentor was like, is this what you want to do? Is this what you want to do? Is this, maybe I'm in a dropout? And I was like, no, 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 I'm not going to drop out. But even Anaska Shaki as well, I was like, is this the drop for me? Because I keep fainting. But one thing I'm not a quitter. And then by that time, a year into it, I was beginning to see things. I was on the anesthetic side. I see how the drugs were affecting body, like how our body works. I see how a certain drug affects the brain, affects the heart. And that piqued my interest. But also, Somaliland and Wankabakna operating rooms, right? So
Yeah.
it was an honor to actually, I'm a privilege to see an operation happen and how the patient was although anesthetized completely, how they were being treated by the group of people that were in there with the utmost respect and care. And care, because patient
Yeah.
but people are still looking after them as if they are awake. So I just thought that's really, really nice. So I knew that, as I said, I have to get over my, whatever issues that I have in my head, but I think I want to continue doing this. So yeah, so I just persevered, wallahi, and I passed my first year. Like, alhamdulillah, I would end up passing on like my assignments. And then ilahay wuxuu igu beegay like really nice mentors. So
Yeah.
mentoring is very important. My mentors, say if I get sent back home on Monday, if my mentor is working on Saturday or Sunday, he'll say, come in Saturday or Sunday to make up for the hours that you lost.
That you've
You see what I
lost.
mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
So literally, that's how I made it through the course, guys. And before you know it, year 1 done, year 2 done, year 3 done. And I was just like, qualified.
MashaAllah.
So yeah, that's my university days basically. It was hard. That was the beginning, and that's how I got into it. And then obviously, as we said, healthcare is very broad. So even within the ODPing, it's equally even more broad. So when I finished and towards the end of my training, I had a very strong feeling that I enjoy anesthetics more than anything. So I would end up joining the anesthetic team. And then within anesthetics, the speciality that I really liked was emergency and trauma.
Yeah.
And I would work towards, because I was still, obviously I'm newly qualified. So I would work towards joining the emergency team and the trauma team. And that's what I've been doing now for the past 12 and a half years, basically.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. What a journey. What a journey. But at least what I'm quite impressed about is the fact that you went to like numerous careers events.
Yeah.
To see if this is what you really want to do or not. And some of us don't go through that path.
I think it's important because the way I see it is that, like, alhamdulillah, like obviously back in the day as well, like I think we were a little bit sensible because this was when university wasn't that expensive at all. I mean, it was expensive, but not as expensive as it is right now. Wako. But also, we used to get free training. My tuition was free, right? So I knew that I think if people are sacrificing money for me to train, then I need to do something that's going to fit me, that I can do. And also, Zamzam, the other thing behind me is so I need to do something that the job that I need to do, it has to be something that I enjoy and that suits me, because if I'm going to be making money, I need to be able to make money, but with a smile on my face. Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
And, like mentally, I'm happy to be here and whatever. So that's the other thing that was pushing me as well. Like, because majority of the NHS workers, we practically live in the hospital. So, my job is my life, basically. So especially at the beginning, right at the beginning, like as I'm getting older, I'm trying to like now have a better work-life balance. But at one point, like I missed out on birthdays, I missed out on wedding days, I missed out like on a lot of things, but then that was because I was passionate about like, making and training and, like the job, do you know what I mean? So that's what was pushing me as well. So you need to figure out, shaqada, like theoretically, if we're going to be working for the next 40 years of our life, that's what they say, Samaha.
It has to be something that makes you smile, like you said.
Do something that you enjoy. What's the point? يعني what dalatay?
Yeah.
What waynatay? What shaqastay? What dematay?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so you want to die happy, babes.
Yeah. And also the fact that you are, like you said, urada, you also had to be a good example, like for Kuwa Kairi, which is
100%
good. Yeah. So Now, how can our youth um, visually map out and plan their future today?
Parents or children?
Let's cover both. So we'll start with the kids first, and then maybe how the parents can support them.
I think for my advice for the younger generation and the younger folks would be, no one knows you better than you. Do you know what I mean? So even like your teacher might predict you a grade, or people might think you're quiet, timid, but like no one knows you better than you. You know how strong you are, you know what you're capable of, you know what you can do, and you know what you can't do. You know what you like, and you know what we don't like. So like, first of all, believe in yourself, okay?
Yeah.
And then if you have like, it doesn't, no dream is too big. My thing is like, there's no dream that's too big, and no dream is too small. If your goal is to become like, say, to go to Mars, for example, right? So there's a big distance between you and Mars, but it's, think of ways that you're going to make that journey shorter. What do you need to do to get to Mars? What do you need to be? What do you need? Like, what do you need? What do you need? And what do you need to do? So what do you need to study? What do you need to be interested in? Where do you need to go? Right?
Yeah.
What else is going to help you get there? A good fitness level, for example. So you may want to start doing, not only like do really good in your science courses, but you may want to do really well in IT, do really well in geography when we're studying rocks and, you know, landscape
Yeah.
and nature, because obviously the landscape on Mars is complete. So do everything that you can to
Equip yourself.
distance it. Yeah, to distance. Yeah, this is you, and that's your dream. So this is me, and I want to get to what I want to go to Mars. So everything that I need to do to shorten this distance, so I could eventually go to Mars one day. Internships. A lot of young people, summer, for example, when we finish school in year 11, I think we get a 7-week holiday, right?
Yeah, longer than the other
Secondary
children.
school,
Yeah.
7 weeks. 7 weeks, guys. Utilize your time. I know, like, take 2 weeks off, relax, chill, do nothing, but then utilize the rest of the 5 weeks. Like, do an internship. A lot of companies and offices are looking for unpaid. Sometimes you're lucky and you can get a paid internship, right? Because
Yeah.
when you're 16, national insurance ka, so theoretically you can work.
Yeah.
هذا إنجليزي كتهاي. So, but like, can you utilize your time to do an internship, to volunteer, to do like, you know, camps, whatever. When you're in uni, like most courses, if you're not healthcare, we're off from May until October.
That's
That's a
right.
long time
That's 2
to be.
months.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
long time to be
Actually,
off.
3 months.
Yeah, you can actually work, make money, and, you know, get rid of some of your student loans and tuition fees that way. You can do an internship into the field that you want to work in later. So there's a lot of opportunities. Keep an eye out on like networking events, you know, like whether it's professional networking events, whether it's Somali professional networking events. أنا كنا Somali نحن وحياة بدنا بنوفرن. There's Somali professional networking events.
Yeah.
There's Muslim professionals. There is Black professionals. You know, there is so many things. Like, one of the leadership courses that I did was a leadership course aimed at Black people. And that's to create more Black managers. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of stuff that's out there. Just, you know, and alhamdulillah, you know, this generation is so lucky. You guys have Google, where you can just 2 words,
Yeah.
2 keywords, Google it up, see what comes up, and then just work towards it. Just, you know, like, that's my advice to the young ones, you know, like.
Oh, and the bonus is the money they earn. There's no tax on it. They don't get taxed, I believe.
Yeah, because they're still students as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, guys, come on. I don't
Make
want to
your
be.
coins, as they say.
Yeah, so the thing is, there's so much that, honestly, there's so much that you can do.
Yeah.
Also, my advice to any young person watching is get in touch with the professionals. So normally I get a lot of DMs and a lot of like, I'll get like a lot of DMs, you know, with a lot of young people saying, "Hi, Amina, I want to do da 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 da. Can you help me?" You know, majority of the Somali professionals are more than happy to help young upcoming Somali people, Somali students, or Somali professionals themselves. Because I'm a senior now, but, you know, if I get a junior healthcare, like, I mean, this is what I want to do, I am more than happy to mentor. So please get in touch. You know, like, alhamdulillah, social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, is making like, this so easy, and you can see someone that you look up to. I message people that I look up to and say, I love that work that you did. I love the journal that you've written. I love the book that you wrote. I want to get into this, but I'm scared. And it's normal to be scared, guys. Anytime that you do something new, or you're doing something big, or something outside your comfort zone, so it's just say, I'm
صح.
scared. How do I get into this? In fact, like, I had a conversation with somebody today about doing something scary in 9 months' time, inshallah. So
Yeah.
it's, there is, don't be like, don't be like, there's a lot of amazing things are happening outside your comfort zone. Reach for it, do it, go for it. And no dream is too big, and no dream is too small. And the only person who can stop you is you, realistically.
Pardon.
This generation is so lucky and blessed, because parents are not as strict as they used to be. Am I right?
They're not allowed to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all have child mind.
Yeah, that's right.
So, like, parents are not as scary as but parents are not as strict as they used to be. The
Mhm.
Somali community is a lot more accepting. Like, I grew up when girls weren't even allowed to wear trousers.
Oh
So
yeah, I
yeah, but that
remember
didn't
that
stop
time.
me. Do you know what I mean? So, like, don't let anything get out of this stuff. Sorry, but please don't copy me. But like, realistically, guys,
Yeah.
mashallah, واحد كجرتين وقت في يعني. You guys are in a, I sometimes I wish I could be 15,
No,
like,
bet
during this
they have
generation.
better opportunities. Better,
Much
much
more better opportunities. We're very more open to a lot of stuff, and we're a lot more aware of the flaws as well. Like, something like back in the day, things used to be sometimes racist and
yeah.
sexist, and like, do they have career advisors in schools now?
Not I don't know much about secondary because
Yeah,
I'm not really
yeah.
there. But I believe there is. There might be like an outside organization
See, I
that the
remember
school can
back
get
in
you
the
in touch
day,
with. Yeah.
I remember, like, one of the things I remember when I was going to secondary school and I was in year eight, I don't know why, I think I was trying to figure out, was it year eight or year nine? The career advisor told me I would never go to university because I'm Somali.
No way.
You had the big Somali جامعات ما قاعدة تجري
It wasn't very common.
It wasn't very common.
There's like one
Exactly.
or two that would go,
Yeah, yeah.
but it
So,
wasn't very common.
yeah, but imagine, like, this is what we used to go to school to be told that you can't even go to uni, guys.
Yeah.
So things have changed. You guys are so lucky. You guys
Yeah.
are so blessed, mashallah. You've got all these opportunities. Don't let money be a thing. If there's a if you want to do something, and like you say, it's expensive, don't. There's scholarships available. There are generally so many more opportunities available and open to you guys. And as I said, if any young person is watching, wants to go into healthcare, wants to go into leadership, or just any, if you just need any, like, I'm quite good with reading, looking at CVs.
Yeah.
Just get in
Get
touch
in
with me,
touch.
and then I'm more than happy to help.
No,
So
that's very generous of you, mashallah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
my message for Rita, for Dalnirada.
Okay.
My
How
message
about for
parents,
والدتها?
Rita, the عروت بلان كلها كجيريدا. That's my advice.
Okay, that's easy. That's
No,
easier
but
said than
generally,
done, though,
what I
Amina,
mean?
isn't it?
No, I'll tell you what. Sorry, I had to be my laptop.
So if my Ali, I don't have an Ali, I'm just imagining.
Yeah.
If my Ali comes home today and says to me, Hoyo, I want to be I don't know, an artist,
Yeah.
a street artist or a
Yeah.
street dancer,
Yeah.
what will be my response, and how should I react to that?
Listen, but say مرحبا, hey Hoyo, you want to be an artist? Actually, I'll share an interesting story with you guys, okay? So my nephew wanted to be an artist. He wanted, not an artist, he wanted to study fine arts at university. And then my cousin was like, his mom's like, well, hold up, fine arts محوك سمنكرا, like when, and because he was in a sofa so well, it's Somali, lahi khair. I know how you guys think. You think, how will this person make money?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then, if in traditional Somali family, if you're not a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or a ma'alin, they're because this is how money is made, right? So, but the thing is, like, my nephew really, really wanted to study fine arts. And then his mom was like, no, you're not going to be able to. I don't understand. You can't make money, blah, 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 blah. Marka inankii wuxuu niyad jabay, and then he didn't end up. And then you know what would happen? He was like, and I agree with him. If he doesn't have the passion for it, he's not going to apply. So he didn't. I don't think he applied to go to university. He was just taking a bit of time out to figure out what he wants to do in life. And then I found out about it. She told me he wants to study fine arts. I said, let him. She goes, why? She goes, Amina Ibrahim Samania. And then at that precise moment, Qatar opened the Islamic Museum.
Oh, yes.
And they've got the calligraphy and Islamic arts, the Museum of Islamic Arts.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. And I was like, well, art is big because it's like the Museum of Islamic Art is opening. You know, he's Muslim, he does fine arts. You know, he would have been an amazing addition to that team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, like, don't think who so many are like, you just never know where something's, you know, someone's going to end up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think traditionally Somaliland are like, you know, and arts we're not really, I don't know why we're against the arts, especially when we come from the land of poetry. Does that make sense?
I think they associate it with fashion more, like a model. I don't know. I think they just think you're just on the street selling pictures.
Yeah.
Or maybe when they think of arts, they think of like fashion. Maybe, I don't know.
I think it's just. I think it's still. We're still a conservative society. I think we're still very, very conservative. And like I think with me, if somebody can draw, like for example, Sam, I think I mentioned this to you before. If you want to be a really, really good surgeon, you have to be good with your hands. So there's a link between drawing, arts again, and surgery. Being a good piano player and surgery, because both you're tuning your motor skills. Do you know what I mean? You're refining your motor skills. So you really have to be good with your hands. So to me, like I say, hakajirin, and just let them, you know, like, and also I remember at one point when I was 14, I wanted to be a basketball player. I think my mom was like, okay. Then I remember I said to her mom, I'm thinking about joining the army. She looked at me, she goes, hey. And at one point I said, Dad, I think I'm going to be a police officer. He goes, hey, I think, and then knowing myself, had they said, I would have rebelled and done it on purpose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, like, young people are rebellious at the same time. So I think, like, trust the process. They will find their way. And to be honest with you, how many of us start with a particular career and end up going into another side? Does that make sense? And even me, like someone like who started with ODP and is still within the ODP niche, the things that I'm doing right now, well, there's a pandemic, but had it not been for the pandemic, I went from a regular healthcare to global health development, which is another, you know, in direction altogether to what I initially started. Whereas I know for a fact, if I said to my mum at the age of 20, Hoya, I'm going to go move to Africa and do global health, Hoya's going to not be happy with it. Does that make sense? Because we're Baksa. So it is like some parents could, I would say, trust the process. A lot of the things that a lot of the skills that we traditionally look down on as Somali people are actually really good for are really, really good for like for the child at some point in their life. Expose your child to a lot of stuff. When we were growing up, we were all taught how to swim, and we were all taught judo.
Yeah.
I don't know why my parents, but then now as an adult, I appreciate it because it was a life skill to be able to defend myself and just to be able to swim. Do you know what I mean? Swimming is good. So, you know, just expose your child. If Allah has given you the means to do things, I understand some of these things are expensive, but like, you know, go into your local swimming club. There's ladies only days, you know, £2, £1 entry. And then basically, you know, like we can do, you go for swimming yourself, you know, bond with your daughters, bond with your sons, spend some time with them. Storytelling, the art of storytelling is one thing that I encourage, you know, parents to do as well. You know, one of my friends is a good writer, mashallah, and her first book is based on the story of her father. And I think I bet to listen to his stories and then wrote a book about it.
Hamda? Is her
Yeah.
name Hamda?
No, that's not. That's Nadifa Muhammad.
Oh, Nadifa Muhammad. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. The Black Mamba boy. Do you know what I mean? And then the thing is, and then as so true, that's like, you know, I remember I used to sit with my ayeyo I would listen to her stories, but I'm like, half of this didn't happen, ayo. But you know, like when I hear like when you read Black Mamba Boy, I'm like, there's a lot of similarities between, you know, and I was like,
Yeah.
that generation, you know, Hayala Besombarin. So, you know, like again, she did that. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just listen, just don't knock it down. Don't
Yeah,
knock
let
it
them
down.
explore, basically. Let them explore.
Yeah, expose and
And I think the idea of what you said earlier with the careers advice and going to what is it, open days, lets them decide for sure whether they want to do it or not, because they're going to go and speak to the professionals, ask deeper questions that they can't find on the prospectus. So
exactly, yeah.
yeah.
And then there's so many jobs within a sector. So
Yeah.
there is psychology, for example. I remember like psychology, like a lot of my local aunties hated it. You know, they're doing like, "ما psychology هو حرام إلهي بد إلهي بد ودينسا." Like you're questioning Allah's existence.
Yeah.
And psychology actually can get you into HR. Am I right?
Yep.
And within
Because
HR, there is something.
you study the people's behavior, and
Yeah,
I did HR before I
yeah.
switched, jumped
Okay.
ship.
So within HR, there's something called L&D, right?
Mm-hmm.
Learning and is it learning and development?
Yeah.
Okay, and then then the learning and development comes within HR, but it also comes under the business bit. Samaha.
This side, but you're also studying behavior, like
Yeah.
how people are learning and developing
Yeah.
as
And how much do those people earn, Zamzam?
well. I
But then,
I did my master's because the employer that I had
yeah,
at the time paid for it.
yeah.
So you're earning about minimum 30 and higher. That's your starting rate's
You
30.
start for 30. I worked in
Yeah.
the Middle
This was
East
like
where,
8 years ago, 9 years ago. I don't know
oh,
what it
I
is
see,
today though.
8, 9 years ago, 30K was a lot of money. But also, I lived in the Middle East, and the L&D people used to earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
A
It's a lot of
lot of
money.
money, a lot of money. So see, and I remember like all the aunties gabdhahoodii nimadooda custom gareeyeen oo guryaan already hadda inii dhisi lahayn had you left
Yeah,
us.
because when someone says to their parent, for instance, like I want to study human resource,
Yeah,
their first question is, why are you studying people?
yeah,
What are you studying? How to recruit and how to fire? And I'm like, no, HR is a huge it's a huge
yeah.
sector. You know, there's so many different departments that you can get a job
You
in,
can
and
work
each
it, and
one actually you can specialize in the course.
yeah, and the thing is like as I said, like sometimes our parents like don't really think like that. So that's why like, but then waxaan baranay de markaan anaguna galnay the workforce. Does that make sense? That's when
Yeah,
you like
yeah.
that's when you I actually have a friend who studied biochemistry science, and she biomedical sciences actually. She
Sounds
studied
difficult.
biomedical sciences, but she has a natural eye for advertisement and marketing, and she worked for one of the biggest advertising companies in the world.
See?
And she is like one of the main big one of the driving forces between why we are seeing so many hijabis like in Primark and ASOS, and you know, Dolce and Gabbana catering to the hijabi market. That back up
Mashallah.
the so again until we ourselves go into the you know, the
Yeah,
workforce. Does that make sense? And then
yeah,
marka adduunka shaqaalaha gashid ayad kala garbaranaysaa, and you're like, oh, okay. And then one thing I'm like, oh, so there's an easy way of earning money. Why did I not think of that? But I wish I, you know, be like, so I'm telling you,
yeah,
kids, easy ways of earning money.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
I think
definitely.
with the parents, just say support your children, expose your children to as many things, you know, and just let them decide for themselves and trust in the process, because anything that they do with passion and with
Hmm.
love, yaga is drive garani, and passion,
That's
you know,
correct.
it's an amazing drive, you know. I get out of bed because I'm passionate about what I do, not for the money. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So passion is an amazing thing. So just let them and just support them, because that's all we want from parents. We just want our parents' support. We want their love, and we just want their encouragement, because runta caruurta idinkeeni shaqeynayaan. Do you know what I mean?
that's
I
it. It's their
interview so
future.
many,
It's their
right?
future.
I interview so many young people when they're doing for the university places, and when they start, and then I was like, so what do you do? And then a lot of them's like, oh, I want to make my mom happy, I want to make my mom
Oh.
proud, I want to make my dad proud. So they're doing it for you guys. So hakajirina, guys, okay? You and the local aunties, please naga fadhiista.
In the most respectful way.
Please, aunties. Please, you please, aunties.
Yeah. So we're gonna come back to the careers events. I mean,
Yes.
I know, mashallah, Samira has
Yes.
held one, which I believe was very successful. It's a shame I missed it.
Yeah.
But inshallah, once this whole cloud has left us,
When
um,
COVID frees us.
yeah, COVID. I don't like to use the word COVID. Okay.
Free us.
Oh,
Free COVID, yeah.
once we're freed from this,
Mhm.
inshallah, we should hold, we should allow her to hold one in London, like a big,
Inshallah.
yeah, for this youth. Now, why is careers advice important? Why is it important for our youth to attend them and to connect with these professionals?
So the reason why it's important for career advice within the Somali community, the reason why مهم لا تهاي, because if you take my example, for example, my story, for example, granted, yes, it was almost like, 20 years ago, like that.
Mhm.
But to be told when you're 13, ما سمين كرتد قفك waxaa dhinaca diyeemi, like you can't do it. Why? Because Somalid baa tahay Soomaaliduna jaamacadaha ma galaan. So it's alhamdulillah, like I wasn't
Mhm.
demoralized because like ninkan cad muxuu yaqaanaa. That was my
Yeah,
way of coping with this. But imagine like if there's a child like who genuinely will believe like, oh, you can't do this because of your background, your socioeconomic background, your religion, your ethnicity, your race, they,
yeah,
they say so much. And then we don't know caruurteena iskuulayaasha waxa lagu yidhaahdo. And so we need to be able to inspire our own children. That's what I personally believe.
that's
And
correct.
I believe there's something beautiful about when a Somali child sees a Somali professional, because like I wish when I was 12, I got to see Somali lawyers and Somali poets and Somali teachers, because then people who navigated the same system as me make it. It gives you something, like it gives you like, wow, like I remember, like, look, if you're looking for Somali success back in the day, it was Raggy Omar,
Yeah,
Iman. It was Raggy Omar and Iman.
yeah.
And then we used to think Puff Daddy was, or B Diddy was Somali. Do you
Which we
remember?
claimed him.
We did, huh? Abdel Nasser Balobi.
Oh my god, I didn't know of that.
You know what I mean? Like it's just, so I feel like it's something really beautiful about giving
Hmm.
back. And then when as a young Somali person, seeing someone older than you from the same background as you, who speaks the same language as you, looks like you, and
Mm,
they made it, like what they are successful.
yeah,
They navigated the school system, they navigated the thingy, and they can advise you as well, because like what I like about careers fairs, like when Somali boys and girls come up to me and say, and oh, I'm looking for, I'm like, what, and like, oh, is it you? And I'm like, what, you don't think I can do this? And they're like, no, 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 but tell me. And then and then they generally are like interested. And then I remember I did one in Sheffield. And the beautiful thing about Sheffield was, obviously I'm from Ismasham Magaladan Kukurai. And to see kids who are like, oh, where do you live? And I'm like, oh, I live half a Devon. They're going to go, oh, you're from my area and you made it. And, you're doing well and you're speaking well. Oh my God. And
yeah,
like it did something for them. Do you know what I mean?
hmm,
It's incredible to
yeah,
give back. From me, I've always find it incredible to give back. But I feel like we need to be able to inspire our own children.
yeah.
And the more that these Somali children see doctors, engineers, lawyers, teachers, artists, sports people, public speakers, police officers who are Somali, for example, the better it is for them, because it's going to widen their options, it's going to widen their horizons, and it's going to open up their eyes to the world that's out there. Maybe a world outside their council estate, a world outside their area, a world outside their postcode. Because wali waxaanu nagu qufilsanahay, do you know what I mean?
Warren, Warren.
So I want them to see that just because you're Somali, or you're from a bad area, or from a not a postcode that's not, like, that's not nice enough,
Hmm.
it doesn't stop you from making it out there and working in the city. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So that's what I really like about it. And then what I love about the career fairs as well, I get to network with other Somali professionals, and then I widen my network. So if I need a Somali plumber, hey, you get
called so and so. That's it.
yes, or so and so. So then we become, Anaka, like we empower, we improve, and we elevate each other. And we support our own. You're supporting Somali owned businesses, you are supporting
Definitely.
Black owned, you are supporting Muslim owned, and the community uplifts each other. So that's what I generally just believe about it, which is why I love that Samira Hassan, Ilahi Khair Asiya,
Yeah, I
has
mean,
resurrected the idea of the career fairs for Somalis. And it's inspiring actually to see that something that was started in Leicester, it just caught fire. Sheffield, Manchester, Bristol, Cardiff.
London.
It was amazing. It really
Yeah,
was amazing. And the way it was done, it was really nice. And the thing is, I feel like what I do as well is like, I remember the London one. I was looking at Albabka markay waalidku soo galaan, and it was just literally looking at the faces of the mums and the dads markay soo galaan qolka, and then they see these faces of just Somali professionals waiting and advising their children. I feel like the parents were like more
mesmerized, mashallah.
mesmerized rather than the children, because the parents are like, they see what their child can grow up to aspire to. So I
Yeah,
think it's a beautiful thing all in all. Because it's really nice, like it was really nice.
yeah. No, no,
Samira
inshallah,
organized
we
this
need
one
to
that
revive
happened.
that.
Yeah,
Definitely revive that once this whole thing is over.
yeah, definitely,
And you're
inshallah.
coming to London, Ambro.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm a Londoner. I am a Londoner.
Yeah,
I'm a Londoner and I'm a Sheffield at the same time.
yeah,
Sheffield is home. Sheffield is where Hoya is. Yorkshire are my roots. But I have wings. And my
yeah.
wings have allowed me to fly to London.
Good.
So I'm still a Londoner. So yeah, I love that city. So yeah, I'll be home soon, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. So my last question
Hmm.
is about uh, any projects that you're working on, any charities that you've, created, founded. Can I just briefly hear about? I think
Yeah.
the one I'm
And
referring to is She. Have you heard
she,
of an organization called She?
you're referring to
Yes.
she's the icon. So for those of you who don't know, I founded a charity called Somali Health Exchange, formerly known as the Somaliland Healthcare Initiative. And it was basically a group of healthcare professionals. We got together and getting together and just trying to figure out like sida wadanka u caawin karno, because again inta badan Soomaalida dhakhaatiirta Soomaaliyeed, nurseska Soomaaliyeed, qaybta dadkeena caafimaadka shaqeeya, um, wadanka wuxuu qabta is a phrase that's often thrown at us.
Yeah.
Wadankiina ha ilaawina, wadanka wuxuu qabta. So 2.5 years ago, I thought about maxaan wadanka u qaban karnaa.
Mm-hmm.
And then a group of us got together and we ventured out to Somaliland in 2018. And it was meant to be a like a one-off trip, just to
Mm-hmm.
figure out how we can just check it out, see what samayn karno while we were there,
Yeah.
come back and forget about it. But subhanallah, since then it's turned into something that's bigger than I am and bigger than us, and it's become a thing on its own, to be honest with you. And our job is just to feed it and make sure it keeps going. So we are entering almost our third year. So we've been like with Vix's, like March, we celebrate 3 years of
Mm-hmm.
she existing and she getting together.
Yeah.
And so we were there January 2020 wadanka ku noqonay again for our second trip,
Mm-hmm.
and we did a little bit more. And the thing is, if hadan wadanka aana joogin, we commission workshops, research,
To take
things to just,
place
yeah, to take place, what we back it up.
in your
So
absence.
in our absence, so we
Yeah.
connected with the healthcare professionals based over there as well. And it's actually nice because what we're getting better data than most of the NGOs, because it's Somali to Somali. We know what we're looking for, and then there's a trust between us and them. It's taken a while to build, but like alhamdulillah, now they trust us, we trust them. There's a good rapport, and then also like it really doesn't matter if there is no funding for it. And we pay the money out of our own account, and we have an active GoFundMe that people support, and they put money into as well. But what's so called, obviously, the main thing that happened was, well, the reason why I believe in it, guys, I'll tell you, because you remember Zamzame when COVID markuu Africa ku dalaacay,
Yeah.
adiga arka tayaaradihii Muqdisho iyo Hargeysa ka guuray.
Yeah.
All the qurba joog was soo baxsadeen,
Yeah.
and all the foreign workers were so behind because
That's
nobody
true.
wanted to be in Africa during a pandemic. Whereas what we did was we set up a separate GoFundMe and a crowdfunder, and um, we managed to fund the COVID efforts for Somaliland, for example, plus at the same time give the staff the training that we were getting in the NHS and worldwide,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody had to train for the pandemic, and also information sharing about what coronavirus as a disease is doing to our people
Got
here
it.
in the UK, but also what healthcare workers and doctors in Somaliland can expect from the virus. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I believe in Somali-led initiatives, because when push comes to shove, we don't run away. We were there, like we were working full time here. Like I was, a lot of us were all working full time in the NHS. We were doing more hours than we've ever done in our whole entire life. But then at the same time, everybody's jumping on Zoom, and it's like, guys, this is what we're doing. You've seen, the healthcare workforce of Somali background going on. They went on Zoom, they went on TV, they went on radio, they went on Facebook Live or whatever, just to get the word out there and to save as many people as we can, and for the word to get to as many Somali houses and to as many Somali people. So I'm really proud of us.
Yeah.
I'm proud of us. So that's she in itself. But so yeah, that's she. So inshallah,
So
we're waiting.
how can people help other than the GoFundMe account, which is
Yeah.
still active, I believe, right? How else can people support you?
Volunteer. So volunteer. There is a lot of volunteering. So we're always looking for volunteers.
Yeah.
Although volunteering hadda is put on hold because of coronavirus ka.
Yeah.
And we don't want the new strain laga helay Ingiriiska ma rabno inaan Hargeysa geeno, ma rabno
Mm-hmm.
inaan wadanka geeno, because haram, they don't have the facilities to actually fight it. And
Yeah.
besides, the sunnah is to stay where you are, right?
Yeah.
Not to travel. So we don't want to infect them any further, because their numbers are still better than ours. So we don't want to infect them. So people can volunteer, people can support information sharing, because one of the things that we're seeing in a pandemic is how the false information went to Wadanka. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the false information obviously went to Wadanka, and it was like, like make sure you share the right information. So, and dua, guys, wallahi,
Yeah.
wallahi bila tala, guys, ma
Was one of those information kuma daco muslinka?
kuma dhawaa ilaahay baa indhayarta ugu soo diray waxay muslimiinta ku sameynayaan, ma aragteen, ilaahay baa soo diray. Like,
Okay.
thank you, Sheikh. 3 months later, coronavirus hits Mogadishu. I'm like, Somalia is harifinina.
No,
You get me? It was
I think
mad. It was
we need to
absolutely.
stop. We need to refrain, wallahi, from spreading these
I
rumors.
think misinformation has actually killed a lot more people than the actual virus sometimes.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I think we need to to me, what I want is, my dream is to have a NGO free Horn of Africa. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where there's no Hayat and there's Somali people doing things for themselves, because I honestly believe in the power of our people. Like, I believe that we are capable, and we can do things. I mean, look at Miss Elmi, for example. You're a primary teacher, you're a mother, primary teacher, wife, and then you're doing this amazing thing as well at the same time. So kudos to you, babe. I believe in us. I believe in our source, basically.
Yeah.
So
Thank
jazakallah
you,
khair.
sweetheart.
So that's she basically. That's the Somali Health
Good.
Exchange.
So
Yeah,
the
we're
next
all girls as well. I don't know how that happened. We're all gabdan nahnay.
yeah,
It wasn't on purpose.
just by chance.
It was by chance. But realistically, guys, when you look at Afimadka and Qaraka, when you look at it, it's Hawa Abdi Allah Yarhama,
Yeah.
female, Edna Adan, female,
Yeah.
Girl, women are icons, man. I'm
Yeah.
just, yeah, so it's nothing new, so it happens.
Mashallah. No, inshallah, together we can achieve so much more. So much more,
Ameen,
inshallah,
ameen.
ya Rab. So yeah, I guess that is a wrap, girl. So
Is it?
one
Girl,
last few more
thank
words
you,
that you
everyone.
want to finish it up with, inshallah.
No, wallahi, no, jazakallah khair for having me. If anybody wants any questions, queries, any parents, one of the things that I will try and do with you, Samzam, is to share scholarships and things. There's little things that I want kids to do, especially secondary school kids. Primary school, like, I'm not too bothered about them. Let them be children. Let them, play in the sand and whatever. So it's good. Like, there's little things that, like, there's thing called like there's things, there's organization and things that help with young people skills. So Operation Black Vote, which tries and get more Black lawyers and more Black people into law, all the stuff that can help kids get into medicine from a Black Somali background, and things that improve kids, arguments, debating skills and public
Yeah.
speaking skills. So there's little things that I'm going to share with you that you can just share on the page,
Please, that
inshallah.
would be great
Well,
because wallahi,
yeah,
and interview skills, because you may have the qualification, but
yes.
then are you able to sell yourself? That's the
Exactly.
big,
Yeah. Little
yeah,
things like
yeah.
presentation. One of the things that I want to advise parents is Minishaga is if every Somali child, especially kuwa jama'adaha Mr. School, jama'adaha Mr. Shaqoin ko apply garanaya, I always say to somebody, make sure you have a smart white shirt and a smart trouser or a smart skirt
Mm-hmm.
in the cupboard ka kudiyalo.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you need to be called for an interview, wallahi, have that shirt, have wabadlet is your interview outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Have that shirt, have that trouser or skirt, smart hair, have a smart hairdo for the boys. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not talking about waxaan taagane baryahan sameeyaan, like I
Yeah,
don't
the
care.
high tower. Yeah.
That's not all about. And then and a
House
smart
party,
hijab.
maybe.
Yeah,
Do you remember house party? Yeah, go.
I'm not impressed sometimes when you see them coming through the door, like, and I'm kicking them, and I'm, smart trousers, smart skirts, smart hijabs, smart hair. Okay. And I've seen some of the girls come with full face of makeup. Nigga day, don't do it.
Yeah, put it
Like,
down. Yeah.
yeah. So there's a lot of things that you can do, like first impression. So I'm going to share with you, inshallah. Then you can
No,
share
that
on
would be fantastic. That would be
if any
fantastic, honestly.
parents want to ask me any questions, ask Zamzam. She has my email and my
Yeah.
number.
Oh,
And I'm
don't
more than
worry.
happy to
I'll
answer,
be making
inshallah.
that public. Just kidding. So,
Girl,
so thank you so much with all your busy schedule and everything else going on with the world. Wallahi, I absolutely appreciate you coming on and talking about this really important topic for our youth and our parents as well. So jazakallah khair habibti. I absolutely appreciate it. And that is a wrap, my love. Okay.
bye. Let's go.